what would you say if I said that I could bring them back?
I guess I'd say I never thought of that.
Well, alright, hold tight, you might wanna stand back, because one small John is coming intact.
St. John forward, spitting out some more words, fully intact, jacked, ready to rap and attack. Small John on your lawn, living like a gnome, hit you with my lyrics like a bullet to your dome.
Tonight when he comes up here, he's either gonna kill or he's gonna suck. But there's no in between for Mr. John Forward.
Oh, well, I didn't know any of that.
Well, that's what I've been trying to say the whole time.
Welcome to St. John Forward Radio. It's Monday, 9 o'clock, July 17th. I'm just burning it. Now I can't use this as a repeat because I said what date it is. But anyway, live and in the moment, St. John Forward Radio. I'm the John Forward of the title. Hopefully slightly more coherent than I was last week. I was pretty burned out coming back to work after a 2.5 week vacation. I'm a little better now. It's a week later. I still haven't completely dug out from the vacation hole at work, but getting there, getting caught up on things. But new pile of nonsense that got added in while I was out. That probably should have gotten started while I was out, but did not. A lot of upper management types looking at spreadsheets in their offices and, this number isn't as big as this other number, so do this thing that might make it better, which is pretty reasonable, except for I would have already been doing that thing if it was logistically possible. Well, have you tried this ludicrous workaround that we thought of? No, I had not thought of that because it's crazy. But I guess I'll pour every resource into doing that thing that makes no sense and won't have any positive impact. But I'll fill out the 10 different spreadsheets showing you how badly it went, and then we can pretend like it's working in a couple of weeks. But the frustrating part is that if I'd been left to, do my job and look at what's happening with our office and focus on things that are actual problems, this one probably would have eventually gotten worked out, but they had me beating another dead horse for the past 1.5 years that didn't really accomplish anything, and every minute that I spent doing that was a minute not spent doing stuff that would actually make a difference. But anyway, on top of that, one of my employees didn't show up for work yesterday. He diligently sent an email to somebody in an empty office Sunday morning. Nobody there to check it. I don't check my email on the weekend. He didn't send it to me anyway. The person that he sent it to would be even less likely to check their email on the weekend. Said he'd be in by noon and then never actually showed up at all. Today he sent an email to a different person who actually was in the office today. I'll be there by 9:20, and then 10 o'clock rolls around, no sign of the guy. Can't get a hold of him. Had to send somebody from St. John up to Fredericton to cover the shift, and then 2:30 p.m. I get a phone call like, "Hey, where's the truck? I'm here for work." I'm like, "Well, you told us you were going to be here 5 years ago. 5 hours ago, I mean. Might as well have been 5 years, so already covered. What are you doing?" "Well, car troubles and my phone's not working." Like, you couldn't call somebody and tell them? You don't send an email on a Sunday when there's nobody in the office. Call the on-call person. "Well, my phone's not working. I don't know the phone number." This guy's been working for us for 8 months and he doesn't know his own work phone number, which is very Googleable, by the way. But anyway, that is frustrating, and still an ongoing work in progress, so that's not fun, but it is what it is. At least comedy's going well. I don't get to complain about that this week. After the No Jokes Barred shit show last month at McGill's, I was a little bit worried that we were going to get the old R-bar kick out the door. Because to keep it brief, last month we scared off about 40 football bros and various other people who were not there for the comedy show, which only left about a dozen people, including the people that were on the show. Was not a very happy 5-year anniversary for No Jokes Barred. This month, to add problems on top of the ongoing attendance on both sides of the microphone, I was told that there was going to be live music happening right outside the doors on the boardwalk stage, and that was probably going to be an annoyance. And loud music is bad enough, but I should also expect that there would be a lot of people outside on the deck enjoying the terrible cover band, and they will probably be coming in and out to get drinks and use the bathroom and possibly disrupting the show. So I assured the owner that I would not be outside yelling at the hundreds of people having a good time to turn down the music and shut the hell up. We're trying to put on a comedy show in here for 10 people. And it was, I knew it was going to be annoying having people come in and out and maybe being disruptive, but I said I wasn't going to give them too hard of a time, which I would be more lax with those people anyway, as long as they're not going out of their way to be jerks about it. Somebody popping in for a few minutes and making some noise when they don't know what's going on isn't really... It doesn't require the same kind of handling as people that are hanging out inside the comedy show that aren't there for the comedy show, and they're being disruptive for many, many, many minutes. And they continue acting like assholes when you tell them that it's not acceptable behavior and there's people trying to watch and perform a show. So anyway, that was going to be the venue situation. I was also hoping to have a decent turnout to cancel out any problems with the normals, and it was pretty good. It wasn't a completely packed house, but it was a relatively full house. I was happy with the turnout. Don't know why it was so bad last month and this was better. It could have been just a lucky break. Don't know if my nagging on the radio encouraged anybody to come out, or if it was all the fancy live life uptown hashtags and such that I put on the Instagram post. Who are these people that are just randomly scrolling on Instagram? People that they don't even follow. I don't get it, but anyway, I'm told it makes a difference. Also printed out some actual posters that I put up around Uptown last week. Just do all the things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You never really know what the actual thing is. I've been doing Facebook ads every time, and that's pretty hit or miss. So I don't know. Maybe it's the posters. Maybe it's the hashtags. Probably not my radio nagging. But actual show music was a little bit annoying, but not as bad as I thought it would be. None of the outside people were particularly disruptive. It helps having a room full of engaged audience members there paying attention. Had a few local regulars up on the stage. Had Brian Giles in from Maine for the first time in a while. Margot Landry down from Moncton doing her first time on No Jokes Barred. Paul Ash, guy that runs a variety show in Montreal that I've done a couple of times, was passing through. He did a set, and even the woman that took my virginity many years ago made it out to her first No Jokes Barred show. So it was a magical night of comedy altogether. I got to dust off an older bit that I haven't done in a while, and I felt fresh again. It did all right. Trying to mix it up a little bit. Still working on my Cigarettes and Cool Ranch Fringe Festival show, but I don't want to only do that stuff. I don't want to get too sick of it, and I don't think most of the people that are coming out to see the Fringe Festival show are going to necessarily be No Jokes Barred or Uptown Comedy Deluxe regulars, but I don't want those people to get tired of me in the meantime either, so trying to mix it up. Poster is done. I haven't done the full reveal on the internet. Just parts of it. Pieces of the puzzle have been put out. Hasn't been printed yet. Got an updated schedule. I no longer have terrible 5 p.m. time slots anymore, so that's good. Earliest show I'm doing is at 7 p.m. and the latest one's at 10 during the 5 days. That's not bad. Sets coming together, cut some stuff, rearranged some chunks. It's weird how doing a full hour set is somehow forcing me to make my material more concise. But that's how it's going. Mostly just videotaping myself alone at home doing it and then watching the video back and nitpicking it. But I'll be running it for an audience the first time for Bathurst at Studio 2 in a couple of weeks, and then Grim Rush show in Fredericton after that. And looking forward to it. Also looking forward to my guest, David Myles Holland Hall, back on the show. It's been a bit. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good, you?
Not too bad. So you've been out of the country for a semester, so we'll be discussing that in a bit, and then we'll see what else is on your mind and mine. We'll see what's going on, but we'll take a musical break first, and then we'll come back and hear some more words out of David. While I probably interrupt him a lot, which I'm told that I do, and I apologize for.
No worries.
It's St. John Forward Radio, not St. Guest John Radio. Who knows? Anyway, let's hear some Sampa the Great. New song, OMG, St. John Forward Radio. We'll be back.
God at his finest, wonder what Uptown prime is. Never underestimate your highness. Dripped in melanin, galaxy's finest. Put a bit of pressure on the spirit of the highest. Do it I will, do it I will. If they don't believe me, then you betcha I will. If they don't believe me, then you betcha I will. Better big up love for the betcha I chill. Flow, oh my gosh. Where man go, oh my gosh. If a man see it, oh my gosh. I guess you never know what you got till it. Flow, oh my gosh. Where man go, oh my gosh. If a man see it, oh my gosh. I guess you never know what you got till it. What a man say he is. As a man think it's G's. Summer and Louise took a lot of effort just to get up from the heat. Daddy adolescent said he get up from the streets. Give them get the feet, let them go to feet. Fly him out of Africa, get the kids a breed. Show them how the other half, how the world is. Show them how the other half, how the world is. Nah, they don't know, they don't know. They can't hold, they can't hold. They box, they talk, I know they can't show. Please believe, they deceive me. They flex, I know they can't see me. Flow, oh my gosh. Where man go, oh my gosh. If a man see it, oh my gosh. I guess you never know what you got till it. Flow, oh my gosh. Where man go, oh my gosh. If a man see it, oh my gosh. Guess you never know what you got till it. Flow, oh my gosh. Where man go, oh my gosh. If a man see it, oh my gosh. I guess you never know what you got till it. Flow, oh my gosh. Where man go, oh my gosh. If a man see it, oh my gosh. Guess you never know what you got till it.
Oh my gosh, we're back here on St. John Forward Radio, here with David Myles Holland Hall, who recently went on an across-the-pond vacation. Hasn't been on the show since, it was probably like January. You were in with Austin.
Yeah.
So tell us where you went and why.
We went to Paris for a bit of term. I was studying there. Plus, experiencing the culture, that kind of thing.
What were you studying?
Psychology and sociology, and I also took a lot of French courses while I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you bilingual?
I wouldn't say fully bilingual, but
Did you do French immersion?
yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like my French has gotten a lot better since I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the French there different than here? Like, I know it is, but
Yeah.
is it like very different? Is it I don't know. If French isn't your first language, it's a little hard anyway, but was it like a significant difference?
Not that much. I mean, there were a few words here and there that I didn't recognize that I learned
Right.
that. Yeah, and obviously there weren't as many Anglicisms as
Right.
there are here. The accent was different.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I found they had a few Anglicisms, but a lot of them were different from Canadian Anglicisms. Like in Canada, a cookie would be in biscuit, but in France you would say un cookie.
Okay.
Yeah, I think partially because like they're considered kind of foreign there, so
Yeah.
yeah, like a lot of
I wonder what are the origins of the cookie. I wonder what culture that comes from.
like the chocolate chip cookie that was seen as a very North American yeah,
Seems
dessert.
like it.
Yeah.
Never really thought of it before.
Okay.
Just in case anybody doesn't, when he's talking about Anglicisms, that means like when somebody, I know what it means,
Okay.
but to the listeners, it's when a French person uses an English word for
Right.
for something, which is way worse in New Brunswick in particular.
Yeah.
I would say probably in Quebec there probably isn't even nearly as much as there is here. I think New Brunswick probably has the most bastardized version of the language.
Probably.
Yeah. Is this like a regular exchange program? Because it doesn't seem like traveling abroad would be necessary for a psychology degree. Or was there many people that were doing work terms? Is this something?
Oh, it wasn't really a work term. It was. Yeah.
The exchange or whatever you call it.
Oh well, UMB it offers an exchange. Like any student can basically sign up for an exchange.
Okay.
Yeah. So you find a university that can accommodate your degree, and like you apply. If you get accepted, you can study there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, was it? How was it? Was it a worthwhile experience for you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Have you traveled much?
Yeah. I've been to a lot of family vacations. Like, not as much on my own.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't really. I haven't traveled very much.
Right.
I've barely left probably the Eastern time zone for the most part.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't even. I don't think I've even been past Toronto, at least, even in this country. In the States, generally, you think the furthest I end up getting is probably Boston to the south, except for a few years ago we went to Oregon, so that was
cool.
that was the furthest away. That's like
Right.
4 time zones away, but
Yeah, I mean that's in the West Coast, right?
yeah, it's not all the way on the West Coast.
Okay.
I think it's like 1 time zone over from the coast, but
Right.
definitely northwest.
Okay.
It's like down and to the right from Washington State.
Yeah. Did you fly there? Or-
Yeah.
Okay. It'd probably be a really long drive, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I don't even want to drive even to somewhere as close as like Boston or Montreal anymore. It's just
No.
it is more expensive to fly, but just for the sake of losing an entire day of your trip, just sitting in a
Right.
car is just not worth it.
But
And it's
it's
kind
also-
of a miserable experience.
It's not really that much cheaper though. By the time you pay for gas, you get a hotel,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm a grown up now, and I've got
Yeah.
I've got a decent job. I can
Oh, yeah.
I can afford it. Yeah, we wouldn't even have attempted to drive all the way to Oregon, but when I was younger, we'd make many car drives up to Montreal to go see concerts and stuff,
Right.
and that's a 10-hour drive each way, which is not fun. Even when people are switching off, it's just, I don't know.
Right.
I'd rather pay a few $100 for a flight and like a 2-hour trip and have an
Right.
extra 20 hours not in the car.
Yeah, exactly.
But even to go so far, like I'll drive to Portland, Maine to see a show or something, but even that's pushing it. I don't like driving for 5 hours even, but yeah, I don't know. If I go any further than Portland, I think I'm flying.
Right.
Yeah, so what's I've never flown, well, I was going to say internationally. I've flown to the US. I don't think that counts though. Is
Right.
it much of is it a fuss? Is there you don't have to go through TSA like when you're going to the States.
No,
but is there any interesting complications when flying internationally to a different continent?
Like there's a customs process. Yeah, but most like I had to when I got to Canada, I had to declare like how much stuff I bought, if I brought any alcohol home, that kind of thing. But
Right.
yeah.
So how long of a flight was it?
On the way there it was about like 10 hours ish.
Yeah.
A bit under. And on the way back I actually cut into two. Like I flew to Iceland, spent a week there with my sister, then got back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've thought, May's looked into it. I don't really know anything about Iceland, but apparently it's really cheap to go there.
It's cheap to actually get there. It is, like, the cost of living there is pretty expensive. Like, yeah, like, going out to eat at, like, a gas station would be $30 for two people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's does the main flight across the ocean? Did you have to go through Halifax or?
We went to Toronto, then to Moncton. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what kind of stuff did you take in culture-wise?
Well, I saw like a lot of museums. I also went to Amsterdam and Portugal, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool getting to experience the French culture. Like, yeah, like, you know, the art, that kind of thing.
Okay. Were you traveling by yourself, or was there anybody with you?
I was mostly traveling on my own.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really come over with anyone.
Was that? I think that's the way to go for me.
Yeah.
Just because, not that I just went to New York for a week with RF, which was fine, but I think I just prefer to not have to be bothered. Like, I want to go to this thing. Do you want to go to this thing?
Yeah.
And just if I'm walking down the street and I just get distracted and I see something, like, oh, I'm just going to go over there now and do this thing instead of like messing with whatever. I feel like it has to be more planned out when you're with another person.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's always whereas if you're there by yourself, you're just kind of rolling with the punches, and if there is a plan, the only person that you're really disappointing is yourself.
Right.
But do you are you much of a social butterfly, or did you mostly just keep to yourself?
I mean, I'm not much of one. Yeah.
Meet anybody over there?
A few people, definitely a lot of great people over there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what's the school like? What's it like taking classes over there compared to here?
It's interesting. Like, I find the profs are a little bit more strict over there in some ways. Like, one person, like, I was in a class full of international students.
Mm-hmm.
You know, taking French as a second language course, and one person, the prof actually said to one person, like, yeah, it's rude to drink coffee in class in France.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
just wine.
Yeah, you have to drink red wine. Yeah, like,
where did most of the other, or were most of the other international students North American, or just from all over?
A couple North Americans. I was on an exchange program with basically the way the program worked is they like, it was a North American exchange, so like we were grouped together in a few classes, that kind of thing. Like, they helped set us up. Mm-hmm. You met a lot of people from like mostly the US over there. Then like you got put into university, so you met a lot of people from basically all over.
Yeah. After
that, like a couple people from Amsterdam. There's a girl from Chile.
Sure.
Yeah.
So was it full on French in class?
Mostly. I mean, a lot of, like, everyone there actually spoke English better than French for the most part. So.
Yeah. Did you have a hard time kind of getting around, or when you're going to stores and museums and stuff like that, did people you could usually find somebody that spoke English, or did you have to stumble your way through French?
I tried to stumble way through French just sort of for practice to get better, but like, worst case scenario, you could find someone who spoke English.
Right.
My landlady, like the woman I lived with in a homestay, she actually didn't really speak that much English.
Right. Do they get? I know when I've tried to stumble through French in Quebec, they kind of pick up that I don't really know what I'm doing and just respond back in English and kind of in a frustrated way. Do they do that over there too?
A little bit here and there. It depends. Like some people, if they as soon as they hear the faintest English accent, they'll just say, "Oh, I don't speak English,"
right,
and like not really even try to communicate with you. Like I was in a bakery once, and like I guess I was pronouncing the name of this pastry wrong,
right,
and like it was like I was speaking like gibberish, basically, like.
Yeah, well, at least something like that. You can always fall back on just pointing at it.
Oh, that's what I had
just
to do.
Point at the pastry and then your mouth.
Yeah.
That'll get the message across.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, I'm not sure it's pronounced. I can point you. It's right beside the eclair. And she was like, oh, you want an eclair? No, the thing that's beside the eclair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they... Are the French people like stereotypically rude, like they're kind of portrayed in popular culture?
Not really, for the most part. I mean, it's just like anywhere else. You find rude people, you find incredibly nice people. It just depends. I think part of where that comes from is there's not much of a service culture.
Right.
Like if you're in a service industry in France, like there's really not the same obligation as
yeah,
there
they
is
don't
in
have
Canada.
the customer isn't always right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds like that's kind of the way that in school too. We're here; they're kind of bending over backwards to accommodate everybody, and like they're probably not photocopying out the notes for people up there.
Oh no, exactly.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff, and that's there's something to be said for both ways, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think over here it just makes people entitled, so that when they get used to people going above and beyond to cater to their every whim, when somebody's just being normal, they take it as like a slap to the face.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even something like the drinking coffee in class, like if somebody said that here, then somebody would, they'd write letters. I'm triggered, and I need this coffee to deal with all of the injustice of society because I'm 1/32 Native American, and you're discriminating against me.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I find, like like a lot of students in Canada, like they do have that view that like, they can just do whatever they want because they're paying for class as long as they're not bothering anyone else.
Yeah.
Like I knew a guy who'd be on his phone the entire class, like with the phone on his desk with headphones in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't get away with that in France.
No, I don't know. Sometimes those people need to be told, like, well, just go away. You're cheapening the whole experience for everybody else. And like from a service point of view, I'm not going to get into it again, but we just had abysmal customer service when dealing with all of the problems that we had on the New York trip with Air Canada, and just not even making an effort to we screwed up. Not even just kind of, we're sorry, we're working on it, I'm doing this right now and I'll get to you. It was just like, get out of my face and go sit over there. We'll let you know when it's sorted out. And then they don't, so you have to get up and bother them. Oh,
I ran into that in coming home, actually. Like, coming back from Iceland, they told me that my bag would just go all the way through, and I was like, oh, so I don't have to pick it up anywhere? They were like, yeah, I arrived home, the bag is nowhere to be found, and turns out I was supposed to pick it up. And
since when do you have to pick up your baggage when you have connecting flights? That's kind of the basic.
Yeah. I think part of it was because I had a long layover, but I was like, okay, so as long as we know where it is, it's no big deal. And they said it would be like 3 days max. It took almost a week, I think over a week, actually. And we knew exactly where it was. It was just a matter of Icelandic Air physically handing it to Customs and Customs handing it to WestJet, and I kept... Yeah, and they just never released it.
Yeah. Did they give you a voucher or check or anything for your troubles?
No, I ended up getting $100, which I was going to use, but I ended up not really getting the chance. I was going to just buy a pair of jeans or something, but by the time I had a chance to go to St. John, it had already arrived, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we actually, RF and I, we got $800 American,
Oh,
which
really?
was pretty good for when they overbooked the flight home.
Okay.
And we got delayed a day, and we got an extra day in New York and got to see like
That's
Times
pretty
Square
cool.
and Central Park. But the lead up to that, we were sitting at the airport for like 6 hours before somebody even started doing something.
Right.
The way there, when we had our flight canceled for weather, it was just like, too bad. I'm still waiting for my refund check for the Montreal to New York flight that we canceled because we rented a car instead of waiting until the next morning.
Oh, right.
RF got his because he called and complained about them. I'm still waiting for mine. The email said allow up to 6 weeks, so I'm not.
Okay. That's a while, though.
Yeah. I can survive without the $150 or whatever it was for a couple of weeks.
Okay. That's not that bad, then.
No, but I could call them and say, hey, my guy that I was flying with, this is his case number. He already got paid. Give me my money. And I'm sure they would, but I don't know.
Right.
It's just kind of a pain. And with the overbook thing, like just every time that we went up to ask a question, they kind of scolded us. Like, we didn't call your name. Go sit down. And like one guy,
Right.
we'll let you know in a half hour. And then like, well, it's been 2 hours. And we get up and we're like, oh yeah, that guy's gone home. His shift is over. So
Right.
what's going on? And then start over completely.
Yeah.
So yeah, if the same circumstances, we could have gotten out of there several hours earlier. We would have still had time to do something that night, but I don't think we got back to our flight was supposed to leave at like 4:30, I think, and we didn't end up getting back to the hotel they put us up into until like 11-ish.
Well,
Not fun.
No.
Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and further discuss. Do you want to tell us about the song that you've selected for us to listen to?
yeah, it's by the Glorious Sons. I really like that band. They're from Antigonish, I believe. Since it's a local station, I figured I'd choose a band that's, from the Maritimes.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's hear it after this brand new station ID that I should have had finished weeks ago. But anyway, here it is. And then we'll hear some Glorious Sons.
This is... Sorry. This is... Sorry. This is James Mullinger Comedy Boot Camp winner, 3rd place Hubcap Open Mic Contest winner, 2nd place Up to One-Liner Showdown winner, also last place Roast Battle champion, whatever that means. This is 107.3 FM, and you're listening to St. John Forward Radio.
And that was Matt Keenan, who didn't say his own name in that whole thing, I think.
So many credits.
You're killing me, man.
So many credits.
Come heavy or don't come at all. You leave your piece at home, that's your call. It never paid to be merciful. Come heavy or don't come at all. Come heavy or don't come at all. Been here before and watch a better man fall. I smell the beer on you, boy. Come heavy or don't come at all. I will put you down. I will put you down. I will put you down for king and for country. I will put you down. I will put you down. I easy, don't that's your call. It never paid to be merciful. Come heavy or don't come at all. I will put you down, I will put you down, I will put you down for king and for country. I will put you down, I will put you down, I will put you down. Your prayers what you need. I will put you down, I will put you down, I will put you down for king and for country. I will put you down, I will put you down, I will put you down. Your prayers what you need. I'm coming heavy, I'm coming heavy, I'm coming heavy.
We're back on St. John Forward Radio, just talking about festival season coming up. We've got Area 506 coming up in St. John. Maybe you were saying you enjoy festivals.
Yeah, like I don't want to be that guy who doesn't even care about the bands, but just loves festivals. But yeah. I mean, if anyone wants to like make fun of me and ask me about how, which bands I'm excited to see and just make them up, I'll play along with that.
Yeah, no, but I think for something like that, I would say probably 75% of the people at Area 506 are just there for more of the event than the actual bands. Yeah, I was saying most of the bands, it kind of skews, not necessarily, it's just kind of generic rock, indie type stuff from what I can tell, which I like some stuff like that. I think the only band that's come through for 506 that I like is July Talk, but I think when they were here, I had just seen them probably twice already that year, and I didn't care to see them again. I don't like them that much.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know who's the big draw this year.
There's Winter Sleep. Yeah.
Winter Sleep is a band that I feel like I'm supposed to like. They play I listen to probably similar stuff to them, but just could never really get into them. I don't know.
Tokyo City Police Club, like you like a few of their songs.
Yeah, I've heard of them, but I don't really know them that well.
Okay.
But no, it would be a fun thing. I was just saying, like, I'm going to the Impact Music Festival in Bangor in a few weeks, but that's just... Last year, May and I went down for the full 3 days, and there was lots of good stuff. This year, the lineup was a lot weaker, but I got $25 day passes for the Saturday, so I'm probably just going to want to go down and see Clutch and Between the Buried and Me, and then go home and go to bed. I don't think I need to stick around for Five Finger Death Punch. Big headliner, not a fan.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just not into it for the sake of being there. Especially, I find I think I'm just too old for being at shows for that long, especially when there isn't like seating.
Right.
It was exhausting. We had rented lawn chairs, and we had various degrees of good seats. I hate, the worst thing is where you were like at the back on the lawn and people that were standing up on the lawn, like when most of the people that were on the lawn were sitting in chairs. Like, if you're going to stand up, like, go up with the crowd for the rest of it instead of standing up directly in front of the old people that want to rest their knees. But I find just going to even a regular concert just kind of exhausting. I find when I go to see a show, I'm used to like an hour and a half, 2 hour long comedy show now. So when I go to see a band play and there's like 2 hours of just opening bands, I'm like, all right, I'm good. It's time to go home before they even start. And I find myself, even if it's a band that I really like, I'm like, oh, don't play an encore. Don't play another encore. I just want to go home. I'm not committed to leaving enough that I'm willing to miss the encore necessarily, but I'm hoping that there's no more going on.
Well, for me, it's leaving that I always find annoying. Like when you're...
Yeah, just the sea of people.
Yeah, it takes you like an hour just to leave like a concert when you're done. Then it takes you another hour to get like... out of the city you're in.
Yeah, for sure. If it's at a stadium with like hundreds of thousands of people and there's going to be everybody is parked in the same place, then I'm certainly more than willing to miss the encore unless it's like my favorite band or something. Most of the stuff that I go to is probably like 1,000-person rock clubs for the most part, which isn't too bad. And like a lot of it, like I'll go to, there's a lot of good stuff that I listen to that comes through Portland, Maine, and you know, the parking there is spread out. They have like a particular parking garage that they try to sell like $20 parking passes for, or some people just park on the street, or we'll get an Airbnb within walking distance and just walk down and then go back at the end of the show and walk out.
That's probably the best option. Yeah.
But going to like an arena show with 300,000 people and trying to get out, that's a nightmare. It's been a while since I've been to something like that.
I think the biggest concert I went to was probably U2 back in like 2011.
Yeah. I'd like to see U2. They're what do you still like their current output? I like their last two albums.
I haven't really listened to the band as much as I used to. Like listened to them a lot like back in like middle school.
Yeah. I got deep into them in like between like around like 98, I feel like. Unfortunately, this happens with a lot of bands where I come in, like the album that brings me in is the one that the fans hate and is embarrassing. Like I came in on the Pop album that had like discotheque on it. It's got some good albums on there, but it's not one of their most well regarded albums. It's kind of a weird techno kind of thing, and that's where I came in, and they put out like their greatest hits albums, I think, shortly after that. And then I forget what the album's called. It's the one that has Beautiful Day on it though, and I really hated that song. Again, it's the same. We were talking about Nickelback before the show. Like I was on board for Nickelback, and then like the big arena ballad came out with How You Remind Me, and I feel like Beautiful Day was just U2, which I thought was kind of an interesting band, and they're like, let's just be Coldplay now.
Right.
And I've gone back and listened to all of the albums, because there was a series of podcasts by Scott Aukerman and Adam Scott called You Talking U2 to Me, and they kind of broke down all of their albums, so I listened to them kind of as we went through, and still don't like that album with Beautiful Day on it, but the other albums after that, they weren't too bad, but they're the most recent couple, I genuinely like them. The one that they forced onto everybody's phone through iTunes or something that everybody lost their minds about, I actually really enjoyed that album. I forget what it's called.
Okay.
Songs of Innocence, I think. Everybody else was complaining that U2 forced their album onto their phones without consent. I was actually a little bit disappointed because I was waiting for it to come out, and I couldn't quite figure out how to get it as quickly as I wanted to.
Was that like an Apple exclusive or something? Wasn't that the whole thing?
I don't think it was exclusive, but it was through Apple, and everybody that had an iPhone had the song kind of piped out and added to their music library, whether they wanted it or not.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It must have been like one of the most streamed albums ever, just because like everyone was forced to listen to it.
Yeah, I feel like it got a bad rap because, I don't know. There's probably more people that listen to it that wouldn't have otherwise than people that maybe would have listened, but were taking a stand against, corporate America forcing an album down their throats.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? But it's not a bad album, so go back and give it a try. Their singles are kind of cheesy arena rock, but as a whole, the albums are good, and the old stuff is still holds up. But yeah, the biggest concerts I went to was probably I went to see Paul McCartney on Citadel Hill sometime, probably in the mid 2000s, and
cool.
That was rough. I enjoyed the show, but that was like an all-day affair, and we got there early, and May and I and some friends, we were probably within 30 feet of the stage, kind of in the middle, and May and I did not move from that like 5x5 little square foot area that we we staked out all day, because didn't eat anything, didn't drink anything all day, because if we ate or drank, then we would have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
And friends of ours would be like, I can't take it anymore, I've got to go get something to eat, or they need to go to the bathroom or something, and they were gone for at least an hour.
Right.
Just an insane amount of people. And then but we staked out our spot and then got to see Paul McCartney within like throwing distance, which was pretty good. May doesn't even like Paul McCartney or the Beatles, but
oh, really?
yeah, she I don't know how much of it is genuine dislike or if she just wants to go against the grain because she's a real punk rock rebel.
Oh yeah.
But I cried a bit when he played Blackbird. It was a touching moment.
Yeah, for sure.
And then like 2 weeks later, I think, we went to see Kiss also at Citadel Hill.
Okay.
Which was a much, Paul McCartney put on a better show, but I had a better experience at Kiss. That was one that we had planned on going to, I think as soon as it was announced, and we bought like the super expensive $250 VIP tickets.
Okay.
And then I think like a week before the Paul McCartney thing was going on, I was like, yeah, I should probably go see the Beatle. He's 5 hours away. I should probably make an effort. And we decided to go last minute and met up with some friends down there. But the VIP experience was much better. They had like bleacher seating up on the side.
Right.
So we could see really well. It was tiered, nobody blocking in front of us.
Right.
Completely separate section for porta potties and food vendors and stuff.
Oh, that's really cool.
Like I had mentioned that people would disappear for minimum an hour anytime they had to do something when we were out in the thick of it at Paul McCartney. But at the Kiss show, like I got up, went to the bathroom, got a beer, got something to eat, smoked a joint, and was back to my seat within the span of like 1.5 songs.
Okay.
So.
And Kiss makes short songs.
Yeah.
Too. Like it's not like you missed two Led Zeppelin songs like Stairway to Heaven and Kashmir.
Yeah. No, it was great, and we could see it. Lots of pyrotechnics and spitting blood. There was a zip line. There was some pyrotechnics for Paul McCartney. There was a big fireworks show when he played. Cool. What was the song that he did on the James Bond, "Live and Let Die"? That was the big fireworks spectacle. That was a fun show, but I don't think I could stand in the same spot for 10 hours straight anymore.
No, I mean, yeah, that would be really hard.
Yeah, so even at a normal, just like 2 openers and then the main band show, I'm looking for a place to sit down the whole time, or at least a railing to lean on or something. I don't know if I'm just getting old and it's natural, or if there's something actually wrong with me, but just like my knees and my feet and my back just start killing me.
I think that's normal. I mean, standing for 10 hours, like at any age, is a long time to stand.
Yeah, so I like going to see stuff at the State Theater in Portland, because they have a whole upper balcony area with seats, and it's usually not hard to find a seat. Last time we were there, who did we go see? When I went to see Sleep in April with some friends. The upper part was a bit more occupied than previous shows that I'd been there before, but by then everybody was stoned and tired, and that was probably the main thing. But yeah, always looking to sit down. We've got about 10 minutes left in the show. Let's play a short song, and then we'll come back and finish her off. Let's hear some Mudhoney on St. John Forward Radio.
I'm a creep.
back on St. John Forward Radio. Little Mudhoney, Touch Me, I'm Sick. A band that I kind of missed out on. I feel like I would have been super into Mudhoney in my younger days. That would have been in my jam, probably in high school, but I was not aware. I think the only Mudhoney song that I knew was the one that they did with Sir Mix-a-Lot on the Judgment Night soundtrack. But yeah, listening to the one of the guys from Mudhoney on Mark Maron's WTF podcast a few months ago, and I went back and listened and was pleasantly surprised. But anyway, we're back on the show, and I've got David Myles Holland in the house, back from adventures in Europe. Did you do any comedy while you were out there?
I did. I went to one comedy venue that was in English in Paris. That was really cool. Like, I didn't actually perform, but it was really cool to just watch comedy. Like,
was it what kind of a show was it? Was this just a regular locals and expats type thing, or was it a show that you bought tickets with, like, somebody that was on tour?
It was like just a local show.
Okay.
Yeah, I always meant to send them a video, but
yeah, I
didn't really have a lot of that great videos at the time. So yeah, that's something you need to get better at, is actually filming sets.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It depends on where you go as far as if anybody actually cares about seeing a video. If somebody reaches out to me on Facebook, I'll ask them to send me a video, but I'm not going to say no, no matter how bad it is. I just like to see them ahead of time just so I can structure the show.
Right.
But, where it's more competitive, if it's a straight-up open mic type show, most people don't really care. But if it's... if people are fighting for spots, you want to have a good tape of yourself.
Right. Oh, I also performed in Iceland when I was there.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, I stayed at a hostel for a night before getting to an Airbnb, and like a group of girls came in. They said they were going to a comedy show, and ended up just going there with...
Yeah.
Yeah, and before it started, I went up to the guy running it, ended up asking, like, hey, do you have an extra spot? And the guy ended up agreeing. There were actually two people who just showed up who weren't scheduled.
Right.
Me and this guy from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was was it mostly like a ahead book thing, like the shows that we put around here? Or was it like a sign-up thing and you just got there late?
I think it was a book ahead type of thing. Like, I'm not sure how prestigious it was.
How much time did they give you?
Like 5 minutes, 5 to 7.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Iceland, I don't know how big of a comedy scene they are, but
I don't think it's that big.
In big cities with a big comedy scene, I think the open mics you get like 2 or 3 minutes or something.
Not
for the
sure.
Most part.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the population of Reykjavik was, but I think it felt like around the same size as St. John, if that puts it into perspective. Yeah.
How'd you do?
Not bad, actually. It was like I had to sort of think of things like that were completely like international.
The Dennis
friendly.
Olden material probably wouldn't fly.
Nah, I had to change that around a little bit.
My phone is blowing up. I don't know if it's somebody sending messages about this show. No, something from RF about shitting on his chest. Who knows? Anyway, continue.
I feel like that needs more explaining, but
I think it's best to leave it completely out of context and let everyone's imaginations run wild.
All right. Sorry, what was I saying about
how you had to pick stuff that wasn't like local St. John references that you could do?
Yeah, like I told a few jokes about living in France. Yeah.
Did you anything happen to you out there that's going to find its way into your material? Anything inspire you that
in France?
Yeah, or anywhere in the whole trip? Like, did you think of any? Are you going to have any material next time I see you? I
don't know.
Stuff that you've done or seen while you're out there.
I mean, I wrote a few jokes about Notre Dame. I also just wrote a couple about living at the homestay I was in, but I could probably come up with a lot more jokes there. Honestly, like my landlady was. Yeah, interesting to live with for sure.
How were you received by the other comedians? I always find it's kind of it's like you're part of, whenever I travel and find like the local comedy scene, people are kind of weird at first, but then once you've been on stage, if you've, especially if you've done well, everybody kind of accepts you into like the secret brotherhood.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. Like, it wasn't really talking to the comics that much, honestly, but yeah, I mean, the two guys who ran it were really friendly.
Yeah, and that's a piece of advice I would give. I don't know how useful it would be, like in Iceland. I don't know if any of them happen to be passing through St. John, New Brunswick at any point, but I think it's a good idea if you're going to get into a situation like that. Like, I find when I go anywhere, anywhere, I try to figure out where the comedy shows are, and it's good, just kind of a networking thing, and to get to know people that way. When you're passing through next, then they can help you get booked on stuff, and also everybody's extra friendly to people, because if they happen to be coming through this way and they're looking for something to do, that's kind of like I mentioned. Paul Ash was on the show. He's a guy that I did his show in Montreal, and I don't know him super well, but we talked when we were up there, and I've got him on Facebook, and he was passing through St. John, just sent me a message last week like, I'm passing through on Friday and Saturday, what's up? And I said, well, No Jokes Barred on Saturday if you want a spot. And so that was good, just to have the variety on. Yeah,
definitely. He was a good comic too.
Yeah, and he's probably not expecting much doing an open mic in St. John, so I'm glad it was a pretty decent show for him to see, and he can spread the word about glorious No Jokes Barred.
Yeah, for sure. I bet people will be flocking in from Montreal just to go to No Jokes Barred.
Yeah. So we're coming up on the end. Do you have anything coming up that you want to plug? Any shows that you've got coming up, or that you're performing on?
Well, I have a roast battle this Friday, I believe.
In Fredericton?
Yeah.
It's, what's it called? It's Club Chrome, but it's something else too. Something Champions? No, that's not it.
I'll have to look up the name. Sorry, I'm not great at advertising, I guess.
Look up, the Facebook page is called Live Stand-Up Comedy, which is not generic at all. Look it up. That's Friday. That's the 19th, I think.
Yeah.
Anything else? Are you on the Five and Dime show next week? What's that? When's that? On the 23rd? Something like that.
Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah. So anything else coming up?
A couple of shows. Like, I think I'm on a couple Abbey shows coming up. But that's about it. Yeah.
All right. As for me, nothing this week. I've got Bathurst coming up. Yeah, normally No Jokes Barred would be this coming weekend, but we decided to not overlap with Buskers on the Boardwalk, which is probably a wise choice. And then, who knows? Uptown Comedy Deluxe, August 2nd, I think. And then No Jokes Barred will be the third Saturday next month. We haven't been kicked out of McGill's. And then Cigarettes and Cool Ranch on the Fundy Fringe Festival, August 20th to 24th. I'll be doing my hour. So check that out, and thank you, David, for joining us, and we'll call that a show.